Saint Maud. This is a religious psychological horror film made by first-time feature film director Rose Glass. This was put out by A24. Sort of goes without saying at this point, but it's going to be good because A24's name is on it. Other than really early Focus Features, which put out stuff like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, things of that, I can't really remember a company that so consistently has put out quality movies. And so much so that just the name A24 doesn't really matter what the film is. You're just like, hey, I'm going to see it because this company is putting it out. So, yes, Saint Maud, quality film. We'll just throw that out up front. Now, the story is about a young woman named Maude, played by Morfydd Clark. She's an in-home care nurse for a woman named Amanda, who's slowly dying of stage 4 cancer. Amanda's in her early 40s and was a noteworthy dancer, so on top of dealing with her impending death, the film really shows how she struggles to cope with the fact that her body doesn't work anymore, how she doesn't really have any control over it like what she did when she was sort of like the semi-famous dancer. So for example, Maude has to bathe her and has to sort of prepare her food for her and things of that nature. Maude sort of comes into her life as this recently converted Christian, which is part of the mystery of the film, sort of why she has this deep religious faith fairly recently, what converted her. And Maude herself comes to believe that it is her mission to save Amanda's soul. So Amanda is not really religious. Through the course of the film, you sort of see that. She kind of plays with Maude, toys with her a little bit, makes Maude feel good in ways by just kind of playing along with the fact that she's, seeing God or something of that nature. As you can guess, things start spiraling out of control very, very quickly. Yeah, the cinematography is fantastic, and the story itself is really engaging. Morfydd Clark is incredible as Maude. She comes across as this really sympathetic person in a way, and then as more and more weird stuff starts happening, she kind of flips her performance to threatening, but in this weird, restrained, nuanced way, if that makes any sense. You kind of have to watch it, but the actress is really great at using facial expressions to sort of show her mood and the way her internal thinking. This movie only works, I think, because of her performance, since she's the primary character we're following through this entire thing. If they would have cast her poorly or had somebody less talented in that role, this would have been a much tougher watch, I think. Now, one thing that I feel was a negative, and it's not necessarily the film's fault, is that while watching this, I got a distinct Frailty vibe. Now, if you've seen that film, rest in peace, Bill Paxton. That movie deals with adjacent themes, particularly in handling the idea of, wait, is what Maude is experiencing real, or is this just in her head? You don't know, is she possessed by a demon? Is she really being spoken to by God? She claims that she hears God in her head. God talks to her and sort of gives her these sort of missions, or she's sort of finding her way, sort of directing her to where she needs to be in her life, and in this case saving Amanda's soul. But we don't know. We see certain scenes in this film where, I think it's in the trailer, she starts like floating up. Is that real? Is that in her head? So the same things that were kind of done in Frailty are done here. Now, personally, I feel Frailty handled that sort of thing better than this film, but that's not taking away from the quality of Saint Maud. Both are good. It was just a thing that I noted while I was watching it, especially towards the very end of the film, though this one is more ambiguous than Frailty's ending. Frailty's ending leaves it pretty clear as to what's going on. This one, there's a quick shot that again makes you think, well, maybe this is not real, sort of thing. But again, it was a detriment to me that I kept thinking of Frailty as I was watching the movie. But overall, this was a cool flick. I wasn't expecting anything less from A24, honestly. You put it in, you're like, all right, this is going to be good. Just how good? If you just narrow the focus to the question of how does this stack up to other A24 horror flicks, stuff like Midsummer, X, The Witch, Hereditary, things like that, I'd probably put it in the lower tier, but even A24's worst horror films are still worth watching, so, there's that. I'm super interested to see Rose Glass's next film. I want to sort of see, because this was an excellent first film, like, absolutely excellent. I wish I could have made something this good on my first go around, and definitely a filmmaker to watch in the future, because there's a lot of interesting things in this film that sort of plays with your perception of reality. And even though the storyline itself is kind of trite, it's a same old, a religious thing, trying to save someone's soul, and the weird stuff going on with that. You've seen this 100 times in horror films in the past. This one is at least executed really, really well, and has that A24 polish and shine to it that makes it really good. And it's a short watch. It's like 80 minutes long or something like that. So you're not sitting through like a 2-hour slow burn of a film here. So watch it for the performances. Fantastic. My rating, I'm going to give this a B.